Hey, welcome back to my channel. My name is Bree and I like to cover personal finance topics as well as share my experience with budgeting. And today's video is actually going to be a complete walkthrough mid-month with my budget. So to be honest, I have not touched my budget in probably over a week. It is actually the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, so I just got off work and I wanted to come and film this video also just because I really need to balance my budget and see where I'm at. So there's going to be a couple of factors at play, of course, because the day is ending, so I'm hoping that that isn't going to affect my lighting situation here. And I also have a pickup order that I've got to make in about 30 minutes or so. So I'm hoping that we can cover everything that I wanted to cover today in the time that I have. So this is pretty bad. I'm going to screen record my phone while I go through this process, but I've already opened up my app that I use for budgeting, and it's got all kinds of signals going off talking about how I have things that are uncategorized, I have overspending, so we're definitely going to get through the nitty-gritty of it. I also wanted this video to be a little bit more casual, so it's not going to be as polished as maybe some of my other videos. It's not going to have a lot of stuff that I've looked at beforehand or that I've sort of rehearsed or written notes about. It's just going to be very much, here it is. So let's go ahead and get started. So I just wanted to kind of cover a few things that are going to be going on in this video that will come up. So the first thing is I currently budget using YNAB, or You Need a Budget. It is a web-based budgeting tool, but they also have an app, and I've been using their app exclusively for the past 2 years with my budget. Now, I do have a sort of budgeting process that I go through that I hope to share in later videos, but ultimately the budget that I have created is now in the YNAB tool in my phone app, and that's where I manage all of my transactions. And honestly, it's been such a game changer to the way that I budget. Not only that, it is my full financial picture in one app. So I absolutely love it, and I hope on this channel that I can share more about the app, share more about my budgeting process, so that if you are new to budgeting, you can fall in love with it as much as I have, or maybe if you're looking to find a tool that is helpful in budgeting, maybe this could be the tool for you. Now, one of the changes that I did want to mention that I made this month was up to this point for, yes, 3 years almost, I have been manually entering every single transaction into my budget, which I know may sound a little crazy, but maybe not so much. Like if you're using an Excel spreadsheet, you're probably entering individual transactions. But I know when it comes to using these apps, one of the selling points is that you can connect it to your accounts and transactions can come in automatically. For me personally, I did not do that, mainly because I didn't really feel comfortable with connecting the two. And plus, I just really wanted to get used to the app the way that it was. And I actually find that there's a lot of value in manually entering your transactions, just because there's like an emotion that comes with entering some of these transactions. So for example, if you're entering a transaction and you don't feel really good about it, like that's a feeling that it's like, hey, you know what? Maybe in the future, don't make a purchase like this. So I do fully support manual transactions. But this month I thought I would do something different, and I hooked it up with a couple of the credit cards that I use, where any kind of transactions that happen on the credit card roll into the app. And it's been interesting. One of the reasons I also didn't like doing the automatic was just because you get a lot of different payee names. So for example, you may get like gas station 123 in one entry, and then gas station 54 in another entry. And I really wanted to keep my payees clean. But you know, 3 years later, it really doesn't make a difference because I never go through my list of payees anyways. So I may have just been overreacting a little bit there. Awesome, so let's go ahead and jump in. I'm gonna start screen recording as we go through this. So right at the top, we can see that I have 6 overspent categories, and I've got 4 transactions to categorize. So this is all kind of new for me. But let's go over to the Accounts tab. And over here, it actually says that I have 12 new transactions. So let's go ahead and click View and see what's going on. So the first one is Netflix, and it's saying that it needs a category. So typically my boyfriend pays for this, so I'm gonna throw it under his name as the category, and then typically he will Apple Cash me to reimburse me for anything. Next is Aldi for $4.59. And it took me a minute to remember what that was for. But I do recall I made Tuscan chicken the other night, and I wanted a smaller serving of chicken, which I felt like my local grocery store always wants to kind of sell things as 2 pounds versus 1. And Aldi sold it as 1 pound, so I bought it from there. So this one is already categorized under groceries, and it looks like all I need to do is actually just approve it. So I'm going to approve. The next one is my grocery order for $116.43. And this one's already been categorized as well, so I'm gonna go ahead and approve. Next is Tiff's Treats for $12. So the other night we went to a birthday dinner, and following the dinner, there was like a cookie shop nearby. So we went and got cookies, and for $12, you get half a dozen cookies, which I don't really recommend because I could just make these at home. But you know, it was part of the experience, and they threw 2 extra free ones in, so I guess it came out okay. Now I will say the cookies were so good. And I'll also add, I guess, that the plus side of this was that we did get a variety of cookies. So that was kind of nice. We got like snickerdoodle, chocolate chip, oatmeal raisin, peanut butter, double chocolate. So a lot of like fun flavors to try. So for this one, I'm gonna put this under my food and drink category, and we're gonna save. Next is JCPenney's for $143.86. So this past weekend, my best friend moved states away from me. We have known each other for about 12 years now, and I've been so blessed that she has lived not very far from me. The last couple of years, she was about an hour and a half away from me. And over the weekend, we would typically meet up at a halfway point, and we would have lunch or walk around Costco or do like a walk outside. And then when we had a little bit more flexibility, she would come and stay the night at my place, or I might drive to her place and stay for a couple of nights. So with her moving, it hit me really hard, I think. Not only was this the first weekend, but my daughter got invited to go to a friend's house on Saturday. Most weekends I spend with my daughter, and then whenever there's an opportunity like this that presents itself, I would typically call my best friend, and we might go and meet up at our halfway point. And so this weekend was the first time where it was like, oh, I don't have that option. And I was feeling a little down about it. And as I was sitting there, I told myself, you know what? There'd been this pair of jeans that I was waiting to get at JCPenney's, and they didn't have them at stock at my local one. So I pulled out my phone and I told myself, okay, you know what? If this pair of jeans is in stock at my local JCPenney's, we're gonna get out of the house, we're gonna go get a snack, and we're gonna go to JCPenney's and go try these jeans on. And it was so funny because I kid you not, these pants have not been in stock. I've waited months to go and try these on. And sure enough, they were in stock. So I just felt like it was a sign to just get out of the house and go do my own thing. So when I got to JCPenney's, it ended up being the Black Friday sale going on. So I did end up splurging a little bit on my fall attire. And so that is what this transaction is from. So let's see, it looks like it's already categorized under clothes. Oh, and there's actually a match. So it looks like I had put this in originally, and then my credit card picked it up, and so now it's showing as a match. So I'm gonna go ahead and approve that. Next is an Aldi transaction for $31.18. So my daughter and I on Saturdays have been stopping by Aldi's just to kind of grab a couple snacks for the weekend. So that's what this is for. And this is another one where I inputted the entry manually, and then the automatic entry came in, so they're linked. So that's kind of cool. It's kind of nice that I can do both concepts. So I can still manually track and it links up with the automatic transaction, or if I don't enter it manually, there's usually an automatic transaction for me to review. So this is actually kind of cool. 2703 at Whataburger, that makes sense. So on Fridays, we typically eat outside of the house, so that's what this was from. Next is Growth Therapy for $25. Next is Wendy's for $16.86. And I do recall this. What happened that day? So this was on Saturday, which that's a whole nother story. I ended up coming into fostering a kitten, and we were running around late Saturday night trying to get supplies for her first night at our home. And so with that, I just went and picked up dinner on the way back after we found everything that we needed across a variety of stores. So this is also gonna go under food and drink, and I'm gonna go ahead and save that. Next is Petco for $12.50. So I got a little bit of money from my neighbor who I'm helping foster the kitten for, and some of the supplies went over the amount of money that she gave me, so my portion was $12.50. I'm gonna put this under stuff I forgot to budget for. This is kind of a category to capture any kind of costs where obviously it wasn't planned for in my budget, and the intent is that I should go back at the end of the month to kind of take a look at the transactions that happen and determine if it's something that I should start planning for going forward. And in this case, more than likely I will, because it looks like we may get to keep the kitten. But we'll go ahead and put that there for now because I have not created a line for her in my budget just yet. Next is boba. So that was kind of the little treat snack that I got myself on my way to JCPenney's. So I'm gonna go ahead and approve that because I did manually put that in earlier. And then lastly is Chick-fil-A, and I don't remember when this was, the 22nd. Oh, this was to get a snack on the way to field day. This was actually very poor planning on my part. I went to a doctor's appointment and I was trying to go from that to my daughter's field day. And on the way, I just really needed a snack to hold me over. And I did not have anything at the house, which is kind of where I went wrong. So since then I've bought cheese sticks just so I have a snack in the future. Awesome. So we've gone through all of the transactions that were on the accounts page. Now I'm kind of curious if I go to my budget, what it shows. Interesting. Okay, so it shows 6 overspent categories. Now we're not done, okay? So I only set up 3 credit cards to do the automatic transactions. And even then there's a bit of a delay. And so what I really wanted to do with this video was walk through all the steps that I take mid-month. So that was just a part of it. Next, what we're gonna do is we're gonna reconcile every single credit card. And so what that means is I'm gonna open up every single credit card account and I'm gonna make sure that all of my transactions are in here so I can get a really accurate picture of where I'm at for the month. So let's go ahead and we're gonna open Capital One, and the lighting is definitely coming down, so I hope the lighting here is okay. All right, so now we're in my first set of credit cards. So for the first one, let's see, the last transaction was $648 for my Apple Care, and I have $648 as the last transaction in YNAB. So I've got everything in here. The current balance is $55.14, and my cleared balance is $55.14. So I'm gonna go ahead and reconcile this. Okay, so I just took a short pause so that I could fix the lighting situation, because I did not beat the dark hole. So let's go ahead and pick up where we were. So now I'm looking at my second Capital One card, and it looks like the last transaction that came in was for $25, which is not currently in my budget. And that's for my daughter's gymnastics. She's gonna be doing a fall show off where she gets to show off all of her skills, and it's kind of like an extra special event. So it did cost about $25 for us to enroll. So for this one, I'm going to put the payee, and then the category is going to be her spending account. And then this cleared on the 26th. And I do like to get the clear dates right. It's a lot easier when you're looking through stuff that it relates to the card. And then after that was $20 for the toll road, which is in my budget. So it looks like that was all the transactions that we're missing. The card is currently at $898.79. and my budget is at $898.79. So we'll go ahead and reconcile. Wow, 15 days since the last reconciliation. My goodness. Okay, moving on, we're going to go to my third card. So now I've got to just kind of figure out where I left off on this card. And actually, this is looking pretty good. I think all of the automatic transactions have come in. So the card is at $1,628.22, and that's exactly what is cleared. So those are good to go, and the account is now reconciled. And it looks like I've got some pending charges. Yeah, so for the first one, we did go to the movies yesterday to go see Moana with some family. And that was actually really fun. We saw it in 4D and 3D, which I haven't seen a 3D movie in so long. It was actually really cool. I enjoyed that part. The 4D part, well, Moana is 3/4 of the movie is on the ocean. So it was just lots of water spraying in my face. But other than that, it was a really fun experience. So we spent $23.84, and that was just for popcorn, drinks, and a slushie. So this is going to go under my fun money category and save that. And then $54.37 for groceries. And I'm actually going to put this under stuff I forgot to budget for. So I know I've mentioned this in previous videos, but crazy thing, I don't have a sinking fund set up for Thanksgiving. I know. Who am I? I don't understand. So I want to make sure that this doesn't go under groceries because I don't want this month to be out of the norm compared to other months. And I also want to go back and look at the notes as to why I spent this because obviously I need to get a sinking fund started. So I'm going to just put in the memo section that this was for Thanksgiving. Perfect. Okay, so this account is up to date. And what's really nice is it's reconciled with cleared transactions, but I've also entered in transactions that are waiting to clear so that we can get a real full picture of where I'm at. And then the last card is my Apple card. Now this is the only card that I don't do the automatic transactions with. Okay, so let's see. The first thing I'm seeing is Starbucks for $10. What did I get at Starbucks? I did go to Starbucks. I didn't, okay. I did treat us to breakfast, my daughter and I. So we're just going to go ahead and clear this transaction because this was already manually entered. It just hadn't cleared. Next is going to be $865, and that's just another charge that'll go towards my boyfriend's side of things. And then $27.05 at CVS. So I did buy like a heating pad. I read online that you wanted something to help keep the kitten warm overnight. So I did get a heating pad for her. And with that, because it was like one from CVS, it had like a 2-hour automatic shut off. So I had my alarm going off every 2 hours that night to turn it back on. So that was fun. And so this is going to go under, again, stuff that I did not budget for, just so we can get a full picture of what all is hitting this month. Awesome. So we have all of the transactions in. Let's make sure that I've got a matching cleared balance. Okay, sorry, that took a little bit longer than I wanted it to. It looks like one of my previous transactions went in before a tip was accounted for, and so it updated itself with the tip amount. And it took me a minute to figure that out, but this account is now reconciled. Yay! I love the confetti. Perfect. Okay, so I just took a look at my checking account and everything looks good there. No sort of Venmos or any kind of expenses that came out in the last couple of weeks. So now we're going to come back over to my budget. And right at the top, it says I need to cover 7 overspent categories. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look, and now we're going to start just kind of seeing where we're at. The first one up is groceries, and that's over by $41.20. And that's just because I have been breaking one of my rules and stopping off at the store throughout the week. In order for me to hit my $600 target, I have to be really good about only going to the store once a week, and that's it. And I've had a couple of Aldi trips. I've had some trips to Kroger. And so those have kind of snuck in and I've gone over. And I should clarify, I'm not
actually over. So I still have, oh, just kidding. I'm over. I forgot we're so late into this month. Okay. So in order to cover this, I'm actually going to cover this with money from my gas category. I was holding back for a minute there on my gas, but I'm not traveling out of town this month. So I think it's pretty safe that I can go ahead and use those funds. Next is going to be my home goods category. This I'm also going to cover with some gas money. I just filled up my car just recently, so I think that it's pretty safe that I can do that. Next is going to be my daughter's spending. So we currently share what I call the fun or miscellaneous account. So any kind of spending that I categorize to her, I'll go ahead and cover from the fun category. So we'll go ahead and do that. And then for food and drink, I'm over by $80. Now, this is the one where I was saying I still have $40 reserved for when I release funds on Friday. I kind of want to keep it that way for now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover this with some buffer money that I have. Actually, I changed my mind. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take down, I typically do $40 every Friday. So I was saving $40 for this upcoming Friday because it still falls in the month of November. But I'm going to go ahead and bring it down to $20. And we're just going to need to spend less over this coming weekend. And then I'm going to cover the rest of it with some buffer money that I have. And then lastly are the clothes. So for this, I'm going to use the fun money that I have left, which was about, we'll just do the $40. And then I've got some money left over from my fun category last month. So I'm going to go ahead and use that. And then for the remaining amount, I'm going to use money from my vacation fund. Perfect. So let's see where I'm at. So that leaves me with 2 overspent categories. So this one is going to be the stuff I forgot to budget for. So for this one, the big driver for this is I did buy a new microphone. All right, today is quite the video. I think my camera overheated, so it definitely just turned off on me. So we're gonna go ahead and try to wrap this up. So like I said, I'm not gonna cover the microphone just yet because I still don't know whether or not I'm gonna keep it. But in the meantime, I need to move over $93.92. So I'm gonna use my general category to bring it down, and I'm going to use a little bit of my vacation fund to cover the remaining. So now the only overspent category is just the money that I'm expecting to receive from my boyfriend to cover some of the expenses that were on some of the other cards that he's covering. But other than that, this budget is now balanced. So that's one of my favorite things about YNAB is you input all of your transactions, you reconcile all of your credit cards, your bank accounts, and then everything that is in here is exactly how your budget is. Wow, okay, so sorry for the sudden change in video and microphone. My camera died on me again, I think because it's overheating, but I hope that you were able to get some value from being able to watch how my budget can go from absolutely crazy and just all over the place to finally being very organized back to where it needs to be. I know how much money is where and where I currently stand. And then if you enjoyed this sort of format, let me know as well so that I can record more videos like this. Thanks so much for joining me today and see you next time.